SpringFest is heating up at Lowe's. And for a limited time, we have the extra big deals you need to impress guests. Get your outdoor space ready and save $50 on a select Cobalt 24-volt blower kit, now $79. Plus, save $80 on a Charbroil Performance 4-burner grill, now $199. It's springtime, and our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/13. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. With us today is Andrew McCarthy, former Assistant United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and one good friend, and he's a columnist also for the National Review. Andrew, we're facing a challenge in our country. And right now, we're almost 6 months away for the November elections. And the big item is every American, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, wants a fair and square election. And we have this new SAFE Act. And if you take polls, normal people want a correct vote. Meanwhile, there's big opposition from the Democratic Party. You want to get it off your chest this Sunday morning?
Well, I have a little bit of a different take on this. I think, like most Americans do, that it's absolutely essential that we try to protect our election system by making sure that only Americans can vote, whether it's in state elections or federal elections. There's a lot of people say that, well, if it's state elections, it should be up to the state to decide who gets to vote. I think that's wrong. I think, there's lots of law for the proposition that if you let people who are illegally in the country vote, whether it's in a state election or a local election, it dilutes the vote of the people who are legitimately American citizens living here and entitled to vote. So I don't think that we should be tolerating that. My concern is twofold. One is it's already illegal in the United States for people who are not legally entitled to vote to either register to vote or to actually vote. Both of those things are felony offenses of federal law. And I think in a lot of the debate publicly about the SAFE Act, what people are being led to believe is that, we have no recourse against people who violate the law by voting when they shouldn't. In point of fact, we have a lot of law that we already have on the books that we could use if the Justice Department were willing to, enforce it vigorously. Those people, if we find that people are voting who shouldn't vote, they should be prosecuted. And that can be done without any change of the law. All you need is the will of the Justice Department to do it. The thing I really worry about is the Constitution puts states essentially in charge of voting. It gives Congress some ability to regulate the conditions for voting, and they have done that by, for example, passing these laws that make it illegal for people who aren't entitled to vote. But mainly it's a state thing. And what I'm very concerned about is if you now take a position that Congress should change the voting procedures in every state across the country, what's going to happen is if the Democrats take over Congress, they have some very wild and radical ideas that they would like to impose on states in connection with voting. And if we have set the precedent that, Congress can set the voting conditions for the states in a uniform blanket way, I'm very concerned about where the Democrats will take that.
Understood, but I don't understand how they're not. The Democratic leadership is not following what their people are wanting.
Yeah, I this is a problem across the board. I find it very frustrating because I'm a New York guy. I grew up in the Bronx. in the 60s and 70s, almost everyone I knew was a Democrat, and everyone I knew was pretty conservative back in those days. So I think there's a big difference, John, between the rank and file Democrats across the country that we know, who are, highly reasonable people who love the United States as much as conservative Republicans like to think they love the United States.
Yes.
But I also think that the base of the Democratic Party, which is to say the leadership where the money and the energy is coming from, is very left-wing, progressive, and is not representative, I don't think, of the attitudes of most Democrats in the country. And as a result of that, because that's where the politicians need to go to get nominated, that's the class of people that they need to impress in order to be able to run for office and to function in office. It has pulled the party to a pole that's remote from where most Democrats in the country are. And I think it's a big reason why you probably know these sort of numbers better than I do. I think it's not so long ago that over 40% of people in the country were registered Democrats. Democrats had a huge advantage in the country in terms of voter registration. It's now down to 27%. So I think it's really hurt the Democrats by making their party less appealing to more people. There are many more people in the United States today who identify themselves as independents than as Democrats, and that's a big change in the last 20 years or so.
Understood. What else you want to get off your chest on a Sunday morning?
Well, I have to say I'm concerned about where we're going with the ceasefire. I just think that it's very important for the Trump administration to hold strong on the American principle that we have freedom of the seas. We've done a very good job. Our military has done a spectacular job of setting back Iran's ballistic missile program and their nuclear program, and the way that they can threaten the world, really, with the way that they control jihadist proxies, especially in the Middle East, but also around the world. But it's an essential American principle that the seas are free for trade. And if you're in international waters, that no country gets to toll international waters, and no country gets to control it or tell traders that they can't navigate the seas. And it's important to keep that principle. And what I worry about is if we cut a deal where we allow the Iranians effective de facto or de jure control of the Gulf of Hormuz, the next thing that we're going to hear is that the Chinese have decided they want to do it in the Gulf of Taiwan. And then that becomes a huge geopolitical problem to the United States.
Everybody wants a fee. Well, I think we're going to live day to day until we find out what the story is. And Andrew McCarthy, thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for your wisdom. And we'll talk again real soon.
Thanks, John.